Aloha kako and talofa. My name is Yaneta Le'i from Wailua, Hawaii, and I'm part of the Sundance Institute Indigenous Program. For over 40 years, Utah has been home to the Sundance Film Festival, and I'd like to acknowledge the Ute tribal nation, the ancestral keepers of the land that Sundance calls home. I would also like to honor the indigenous lands and people from which you join us, from our cold weather cousins in Sapmi lands to the Kanaka Maoli banded together atop Mauna Kea, Hawaii. Wherever you are in the world, enjoy our reimagined 2021 Sundance Film Festival.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Art of Editing celebration at the 2021 Sundance Film Festival. My name is Kristen Feely, and I'm the Deputy Director of the Sundance Documentary Film Program. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm joining you from the unceded lands of the Chumash and Tongva people, otherwise known as Los Angeles. My heart is in Park City. I'm looking forward to the future when we can gather together again in person. Right now, I'm grateful that we can gather at all. Grateful to the community of editors who've worked tirelessly this year to bring the films premiering this week to your screens. When much of the film world slowed down in March, there was a somewhat hopeful refrain that at least post-production could continue. The editor in quarantine gifts circulated, and we joked, however lightly, about editors being solitary beings. Like everything in COVID times, work continued, but the price of progress was higher and the toll work took was greater. So in a normal year, it's a feat to deliver a film for the Sundance deadline. This year, it's damn near heroic. For all of your work to get to this point, we thank you and we celebrate you. Congratulations. Today's event is a virtual gathering of the tribe. After presentations of the 2021 Adobe Mentorship Awards, we'll move into breakout rooms so you can reconnect with friends and colleagues. During the event, we'll be posting in the chat. And at this point, I was going to encourage you to take to the chat, but it was so wonderful to see you diving right in, saying hello and letting us know where you are. If you haven't yet already done it, please drop in the chat where you're joining us from. And during the event, remembering, and I know you feel this, we're all shy people who prefer to be behind the scenes. So please show your love and solidarity with today's presenters and letting them know you're here. Thanks to our good friends at Adobe for the 4th year of generous support and their commitment to supporting a community of independent film editors. It's my honor to introduce Megan Keene, Principal Product Marketing Manager at Adobe.
Hello, everyone. I'm Megan Keene. As mentioned, I'm Principal Product Marketing Manager for Professional Video at Adobe. And I'm excited to welcome you to the first ever virtual Sundance Art of Editing luncheon celebration, celebrating you, the incredible editors and the incredible work that you do. As a longtime sponsor of the Sundance Film Festival, we at Adobe know that this year the festival looks pretty different, but what remains are the outstanding levels of creativity and passion and innovation that shape the festival year after year. Filmmakers and creators rose above and beyond in 2020 to meet the challenges of remote production and post-production, and in doing so, forged new and unique ways to tell stories which may change the landscape forever. Adobe believes above all else in creativity for all, and we're inspired to see that so personified at Sundance this year. An overwhelming majority of projects, we're proud to say, were edited on Premiere Pro and with the Creative Cloud, which leaves us humbled and hungry to keep building tools that help you share your stories. We're proud and grateful to be part of this community, and we remain committed to finding ways to partner with and support you so that together we can keep moving the industry forward and empower every voice with a story to tell. Mentorship, inclusion, and representation are integral to this, to creating a world where every voice can be heard. And to that end, we are proud to be partnering once again with the Sundance Institute for the Sundance Ignite Fellowship and the Editing Mentorship Awards, which help recognize and lift up the next generation of storytellers. The Sundance team should be sharing my direct email contact in the chat. So if any one of you would ever like to connect, please do not hesitate to reach out. And we'll finish with a quick video we created. Hopefully you'll recognize a few familiar faces. Probably some of them are in the chat today. Thank you for your continuing commitment to your craft and for your brilliant contributions to the filmmaking industry. We are looking forward to connecting with you, and we can't wait to see what you create next. Thanks so much.
The feeling of getting into Sundance is incredible.
I really prepared myself not to get into Sundance this time.
When we finally touched down, it was like, oh wow, this is really happening.
It's the dream.
We all now have the tools to make films. There's much less of a barrier than there used to be.
There's nothing stopping us from creating.
Wow.
The ability to have multiple Adobe applications open at once and be doing things and have them sync is very crucial.
It makes the streamline process very easy. You don't have to worry about jumping in and out of programs.
Adobe products do make my life easier. It's just a sure shot every time. It's consistent. All I need is Premiere Pro and coffee.
I'm a Premiere Pro enthusiast. I can just shut off my left brain and it does what I want it to do. Editing is like playing with the world's greatest video game.
Premiere Pro really just fit this project to be able to file share really easily with Stacy so we could share cuts back and forth.
Scare me.
I've had 6 films in the festival, all of them been cut on Premiere Pro.
We edited a large portion of the film in 2 different places, screen sharing my Premiere project file, and then we quickly realized that this was a great backup if the 2 of us couldn't be in the same room.
We cut the film across coasts. I was in New York and Alex and Eleanor were in LA. I was able to stream my Premiere timeline over to them, and that allowed us to essentially be in the same room together.
Working remotely and with the team in Russia, with the graphics team, the relationship, you get closer because you have to communicate more to get what you want.
Action. Filmmaking in general has changed over the last decade, and what Premiere Pro does is it allows anybody to come in and make the movies they want to make. It's for everybody.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Elise McKimmey. I'm the Deputy Director of the Feature Film Program for the Sundance Institute, and I'm so happy to be with you to celebrate all of the editors in this year's festival. Congratulations to all of you. We want to again thank our generous sponsors at Adobe, who partnered with us last year to launch the Sundance Adobe Mentorship Award. The award recognizes 1 fiction and 1 nonfiction mid-career editor who are exemplars of mentorship, which we believe is an essential element in the art and craft of editing. This year, we're thrilled to recognize Terilyn A. Shropshire and Julie Vitsa. Terry and Julie embody the best of their craft, leading by example and working tirelessly to foster collaborative, inclusive, and supportive environments in their edit rooms. This award was created to underscore and elevate the deep value of mentorship and why it is crucial to building a foundation for a healthy and thriving industry. Strong mentors are inspiring team leaders who create open, supportive, and safe environments for everyone on their team. Outside of the edit room, mentors contribute to the career development of emerging editors by sharing knowledge, contacts, and crucial career guidance. Experienced editors who model leadership and share their time and their expertise to champion emergent, authentic voices deserve recognition, and we are delighted to take this moment to do just that. What makes this award especially meaningful is that the recipients are chosen from a pool of nominations submitted by their peers. We were humbled, deeply moved by the nominations we received, and all the letters that we read make clear that the editing community is filled with generous, talented, and fierce artists. And we are now thrilled to have editor Shannon Baker Davis present the 2021 Sundance Adobe Mentorship Award for Fiction.
Hi. First, thank you to Sundance, the Sundance Mentorship Committee, Adobe, and all the people who work tirelessly to make this uniquely important award possible. My name is Shannon Baker Davis. I'm an editor, and I'm so happy to be presenting my mentor and friend of 17 wonderful, amazing years, plus one we will not speak of, talking about 2020. So when I found out about this mentorship award, I immediately thought of one person, Terilyn A. Shropshire. Terry embodies the idea of mentorship. I also thought about giving and receiving. You see, when you ease your way into becoming someone's mentee, you are often asking for advice, asking for a recommendation or an introduction, asking for intel on a project, and people like Terry give a lot. So when you come to a point where you've been given so much, you want to give back. But I always think, what can I possibly, as a mentee, give my mentor that will match even a smidgen of the level of what Terry has given me? And a best mentor ever mug, that's not going to cut it. So enter the Adobe Sundance Mentorship Award. I thought, okay, this is something mentees can do to show how truly grateful we are for our mentors. Okay, let me tell you about Terry. Terry is what many of us Black women editors consider our first. You see, there's a very particular experience that comes with being a Black woman in post-production. You know, as a baby editor, just out of high school or college, or just starting out, we look around at our classmates and work colleagues and the people who win the big awards, and we don't often see people who look like us. And then lo and behold, we find Terry. You can literally copy and paste the feeling from me to so many other Black women. Imagine you're climbing a mountain and you're struggling to make it up that mountain, up to the top. And at many points you think you're never going to make it. And you look up and you see someone in the distance on the top of the mountain. And that person shows you that it is possible to reach that height. I remember distinctly my Terry on a mountain moment. I was a baby editor at AFI, and Terry and her longtime director, Gina Prince Bythewood, brought Love and Basketball to one of our seminars. And they talked about the director-editor relationship and how important the editor is to a film. And I sat straight up and I looked at this woman, this Black woman who had edited one of my favorite films like she was a unicorn. And then after that seminar, I approached her and asked her if I could reach out to her. And of course, because she's so generous, she said yes. And that led to me asking her to be my official AFI mentor. And that led to her guiding me throughout my career, recommending me for some of the most valuable jobs I've ever had, sponsoring me to get into ACE. And those things have led to today. So I'm a mother. And when I got the application for this award, I immediately went into mama mode. I gathered the kiddos, which are the Black women like me who all love Terry and value her, and asked if they would help write a letter, and they showed up and they showed out. Terry has personally touched the lives of so many of us. Women like Joy McMillan, who is the first Black woman to be nominated for an Oscar in picture editing. Daisha Broadway, who has been nominated for Emmys so many times I've lost count. Kristen Valentine, who works on critically acclaimed project after critically acclaimed project. Aziza Ngozi, who is a distinguished member of the board of the Motion Picture Editors Guild. I mean, we got credits on credits, from Insecure to WandaVision to Euphoria to The Photograph to Moonlight. I mean, we're out here, we lift each other up, and our entire group is lifted up by Terry. Okay, I'm gonna get through this. In our letter, Aziza wrote, Terry has guided me through every step of my career as a budding editor. Victoria Page wrote, she's always willing to be present and a sounding board, lend an empathetic ear, and to give honest, thoughtful opinions on whatever it is going in my career. Anidra Edwards said her reinforcement of intentionally creating a collaborative spirit through a supportive tribe is an aspect of mentorship that I will always keep with me, and I'm all the better for it. Her assistant editor on The Old Guard, great movie, go watch it, Angela Latimer, said Terry would often say before showing us cuts, We as filmmakers have to be most truthful with ourselves, because if we aren't, someone else will. As I continue my journey on the path to editing, I try to apply Terry's words of wisdom to every project and life experience. Daisha Broadway said, Terry's career is why I've always felt like my career is possible. And Aisha Horn said, one night I received a late night call from Terry and was so surprised because I had no idea that she had my number. I was so blessed by her call because I was recently laid off because of COVID from the show I was on. Her thought of me as an editor led to some consistent work with amazing people that helped me pay my bills during that time. On a personal note, I don't know where I would be without Terry on a Mountain in my life. My career would not be where it is today. In fact, oh my God, I wasn't gonna do this. I probably would have quit a long time ago and not be in this art form that I love and treasure so much. Okay. Okay, I have the distinction of being the first one to cry. Okay, cool. Okay, lately I don't like picture without getting Terry's eyes on it. Her craft, her artistry, her experience with the spectrum of genres from drama and romance to action, her character, her demeanor in the cutting room with her ability to stay calm and get the show to picture lock. That's the mug, stay calm and picture lock. That's the mug I should get. She talks me through situations, she listens, she gets angry with me, and then she says, okay, here's what we should do. Note the we, and we strategize. And I can't say it enough, she is a dope ass editor, one of the best, who happens to be a Black woman. And boy, am I grateful for who she happens to be. And even better, that she shares so much of herself with us. Oh God, I'm gonna get through this. Last thing I'll say is that Terry gave me a great piece of advice many moons ago when I was cutting a short film and really struggling with not knowing what to do. She told me, cut when it feels right. I'll never forget it. I still hear Terry's voice in my head reminding me to cut when it feels right. And today, I'm confident that Terrell A. Shropshire being awarded this esteemed award is a cut that just feels right. I want to thank Aziza Ngozi, Victoria Page, Anitra Edwards, Angela Lattimore, Aisha Horn, Kristen Valentine, Daisha Broadway, Spencer Reich, and Joy McMillan, who all put their heart and words into the nomination letter. We are collectively giving all the flowers to our Terry on a Mountain. And it is my honor to turn it over to the winner of the 2021 Sundance Adobe Mentorship Award for Fiction, to Terrell A. Shropshire.
Okay, wow, Shannon. There are no words, but I have words. So, okay, here goes. I want to express my gratitude to my warriors in art at the Sundance Institute and Adobe for creating this mentorship award and gifting me the tremendous honor of being one of this year's recipients along with Julie Visa. Congratulations, Julie. I am here because 10 amazing women decided I deserve to be considered for this recognition and nominated me for this award. 10 talented Black women who carry forth our craft's future. Editors, assistant editors, visual effects editors, they represent an emerging group of gifted stars on the rise, working passionately to excel in their artistry. I'm humbled by and proud of every one of them. And you will hear and know their names again. Aziza Ngozi, Victoria Page, Anitra Edwards, Angela Latimer, Asia Horn, Kristen Valentine, Daisha Broadway, Spencer Reich, Joy McMillan, who I also call Oh Joy, and my presenter of the award, Shannon Baker Davis. Shannon signs her emails with the words of Mahatma Gandhi, be the change you want to see in the world. What better words to describe and define the act of mentoring? Within our Black and Brown communities, we share the same philosophy, but with different words. Each one, teach one. Those 4 syllables represent a commitment stemming from not too long ago, when here in the United States, enslaved people were denied education. So when a Black woman or man learned to read and write, it became their turn to teach someone else. It is said that each one, teach one recognized the duty of the beneficiary as a result of the courage and risk displayed by the teacher. For me, that awareness of the duty owed began at home and within a community where service to others was a daily practice. This award is a tribute to my parents and the village of family and friends who showed me how to look beyond my own interests and to see the broader needs of others. I am the beneficiary of their example. A love of cinema moved me from the darkened seats of hometown movie theaters to college classroom screens to moviola and flatbed viewers, to the editing monitors that I stand in front of, helping to build stories as possible stepping stones for some young future editor as they watch on their hometown theater screen, or at least right now on their home screens. Each movement toward the editing chair introduced me to nurturing souls who gifted me access to their life lessons and encouraged me to forge my own. I was a very fortunate beneficiary. I started in editing rooms with film reels, overflowing trim bins, racks of film boxes, all requiring the dutiful attention from assistants who were generous with their advice, and editors whose doors were held wide enough for me to walk through so I could gather the vocabulary of filmmaking and collaboration and be rewarded the opportunity to work harder than I ever had before. In those rooms, I observed, listened, and inhaled the art and politics of the profession. No doubt it was easier to learn by osmosis back then than it is now in today's digital editing workspaces. Today, the pandemic forced the separation of our collaborative team environments as we moved home systems and built systems to communicate through Zoom windows. You know, editors already work from a state of isolation, but this new normal of quarantine leaves our talented assistants without the environment to hone their skills or the ability to walk through that door. Yet our inability to share our physical spaces cannot impede sharing our inspirational ones. Outreach and mentorship is as essential, they are essential as ever. Creating new ways to communicate, collaborate, and uplift each other is what will keep our craft thriving. Today, I accept an award I feel every person should have an inherent desire to take on, the passing of lessons learned in pursuit of your chosen path. Mentoring is permitting yourself to step out of your inner sanctum and reach beyond the me of it all. In truth, you're gifting yourself something we all need from time to time, humility. At some point, we all experience a loss of momentum or a clear visibility of our direction. As artists, doubt is our ever-present companion, and perspective should be a welcome visitor. Choosing to mentor is as much about not giving advice or providing solutions, but knowing when to listen. At times, a mentor is no more than a person who confirms for you what your instincts are already telling you. Glinda the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz said it best. You always had the power, my dear. You just had to learn it yourself. Despite the incredible mentors that have imparted invaluable lessons in the editing rooms where I grew up, I must be honest in sharing that I only encountered a handful of faces that looked like me. George Bowers, John Carter, Earl Watson Jr., Sam Pollard, Lillian Benson. were and are my creative touchstones. The pride of accomplishment I felt in breaking barriers gradually transitioned to the frustrating impatience of waiting for fresh voices to join the party, voices that look like me. I have taken such pride in witnessing more Black and brown editors rising in the ranks, and I am committed to ensuring that party never ends. I would like to believe that there are challenges I would like to believe that the challenges faced and the lessons learned on my journey will make it easier not only for the 10 women who lifted me up today, but for all the other rising talents who I've yet to cross paths, all of you. But the truth is that each of you will face your own gauntlets. As young editors, there will be occasions when opportunities will not be afforded to you, despite your talents and your confidence in your own abilities. You will encounter prejudices and narrow visions based on perceived level of experience, preference of race, gender, or skill set in a type of genre. But I also know you will resist, persist, and find a way, to quote one of my dear directors, to overcome the no. Impressive milestones await you as long as you dream big, work hard, and show this industry your wealth of capabilities. Do not hesitate to ask what you want for what you want, and to self-advocate. If you are inspired by someone, reach out and tell them. Today's inspiration could be tomorrow's collaborator. And you must commit to passing on your life lessons even as you are gathering new ones. And don't forget to rest and to take time to breathe and live your life outside the cutting room. It will make you better inside the cutting room. And I'm still working on that one. My hope is I can continue to show what is possible through my endeavors and serve as a guide to help navigate the unpredictable waters with patience, passion, and persistence. There is no more extraordinary gift than receiving the acknowledgement from my peers. There is no more significant reward than knowing that I have helped to curate an environment for others to discover the same passion for this craft that brings me so much immense joy and satisfaction. The confidence and fierce determination of all of you let me know that preserving our particular art form is in beautiful, strong, and talented hands. The gift I would ask for all of you today is that you continue to walk the walk that today's event celebrates. Mentorship, be the change, each one teach one, share your wisdom, share the love, and thank you.
Terry, you're an impossible act to follow. So for now, we'll just say thank you. Let's take a breath and take it in. And before the presentation of the Mentorship Award for Nonfiction, we wanted to take a moment to introduce you to the 2020 Sundance Editing Fellows. This summer, we chose not to host the annual Documentary Edit and Story Lab, and instead created a new opportunity to support emerging editors, the Art of Editing Lab and Fellowship. We selected 8 emerging nonfiction editors who received stipends, mentorship opportunities, and participated in a week-long lab in June 2020. We recognized that the loss of in-person connection and mentorship due to COVID would be most keenly felt by emerging editors, and wanted to share resources and shine a light on these talented artists. Our 2020 Art of Editing Fellows are Jason Alarcon, Nathan Duncan, Lula Corey, Amber Love, Michelle McGarrigan, Cesar Martinez, Leslie Steele, and Ann Yao.
Hi, everyone. I'm back again, and it's my great pleasure to tell you about the Sally Menke Memorial Editing Fellowship. Now in its 10th year, the fellowship was established in recognition of the brilliant editor, Sally Menke, who is an invaluable creative advisor at the Sundance Labs. Not only was Sally a titan of the craft, as demonstrated by her remarkable collaboration with director Quentin Tarantino on films including Reservoir Dogs, Pulp Fiction, Jackie Brown, Kill Bill Volumes 1 and 2, and Inglourious Bastards, as well as her work on Oliver Stone's Heaven and Earth, Ole Bornedal's Night Watch, and Billy Bob Thornton's All the Pretty Horses, among many others. But she's remembered and beloved just as much for her generosity, her deep understanding of the value of mentorship, and her unwavering commitment to supporting the community of editors as storytellers and full creative partners. In the edit room, she utilized her incredible creativity to solve problems that seemed insurmountable. And in life, her open heart and giving spirit made a meaningful impact on everyone who had the opportunity to work with her. Menke Editing Fellows receive associate membership in the American Cinema Editors Society, as well as year-round mentorship from up to 3 working editors of their choosing, including monthly meetings or conversations and opportunities to observe their mentors at work. They also have the opportunity to work with 2 of the directing fellows at Sundance's annual Directors Lab when that program is held in person. But there's perhaps no better testament to Sally than the family that's been created among the recipients of the fellowship that bear her name. In the past year, I've been lucky to join regular Zoom calls with all of the Menke Fellows, along with Sally's husband, director Dean Pariseau. And the strong sense of community and camaraderie has been a true gift. This year, we were thrilled to select the newest member of this exceptional tribe of editors, Josie Azam. Originally from Lincoln, Nebraska, Josie received her MFA in film production with an emphasis on editing from USC's School of Cinematic Arts. She began her career as an assistant editor on films including Goosebumps, How to Be Single, and Black Panther. More recently, she edited the South by Southwest premiere Summer '03 and the Quibi series Don't Look Deeper. Her incredible mentors for the fellowship year are Myron Kirstein, Michael L. Sale, and Deborah Neal Fisher, for whom we are immensely grateful. And we're so happy to recognize Josie as this year's Sally Menke Memorial Editing Fellow. And now, via the magic of video, let's meet all of the 2020 Sundance Editing Fellows.
Hi, my name is Amber Love, and I'm a filmmaker and editor based in Chicago.
My name is Michelle McGarrigan. I go by she, her pronouns. I live in the occupied lands of the Ohlone here in the San Francisco Bay Area.
My name is Ann Yao, and I'm from New York City.
My name is Cesar Martinez, and I'm from San Antonio, Texas.
I'm Jason Alarcon. I go by he, him pronouns, and I'm an editor based in San Francisco, California.
Hi, my name's Nathan Duncan. I'm from Maryland, but I've been living in Los Angeles for about 4 years now.
My name is Lula Khoury. This is Mr. Meowington. I'm from Beirut, Lebanon, but I've been living in New York for the past 7 years.
My name is Josie Azam. I am originally from Lincoln, Nebraska, but I currently live in Los Angeles.
What I love about editing is how different and exciting each day can be. It's like doing a dance between reality and imagination.
Is going through that first pass and watching the footage and experiencing it for the first time and finding those little magic moments.
Where you get to create the language of the world we are witnessing, writing the rules and conditions of the place we get to spend time in.
The magic that occurs when you juxtapose a shot, a soundbite, a theme.
You have to just let the footage and the director and the style tell you what the scene wants to be.
One thing I've learned about myself in 2020 is how important it is to me to have not screen-related hobbies. So I've done a lot of crocheting and cooking and coloring, and it's been great and well needed.
I was able to finish the first cut of a feature without ever having been in the same room as the director.
The occasional yoga sessions, getting outside.
One thing I learned about myself in 2020 is that I wish I had a cat.
He is my assistant editor sometimes, but he's terrible at his job, so I think I'm gonna need to let him go.
Professionally, in 2021, I am looking forward to fresh dailies.
Getting back to in-person collaboration.
Meeting new filmmakers, working on new, beautiful projects.
Seeing my family again. There's no substitute for a meal cooked by my mom.
Looking forward to hugging people.
As a storyteller, I'm really motivated by the different ways that people relate to each other.
The possibility to make someone a better person through the film that they have just watched.
But also stories that might one day help change the way things are in this world.
It's what helps me make sense of my own life and the lives of others.
The impact a film could have beyond just the theater.
You don't know what you might come up with or what you might stumble upon that might teach you something new. So, yep. Cheers.
I just wanted to further congratulate the new Sundance Art of Editing Fellows and everyone who's a part of that program. It's really a program that highlights this sort of key aspect of supporting new voices in nonfiction editing, this aspect of mentoring and mentorship. Being within the first few years of my own career, I have benefited firsthand from mentorship, and that's why I'm here today. My name is Ileana Garcia. I'm an editor, and I'm here to present the Sundance Adobe Mentorship Award in the nonfiction category, but also to celebrate my mentor, Julie Vitsa. Now, I must say that when I found out Julie wanted me to present this award to them, my initial reaction was to call them and ask them how to present the award to them. I decided against this and instead focused my energies on actually writing my remarks. But while writing, I couldn't stop thinking about two things that Julie's taught me coming up in this industry as an emerging editor. The first thing is show up, regardless of where you are in your skill set. As long as you show up in your energy and in your efforts, that might make all the difference. Hence why I'm here, giving my remarks with my chronic anxiety. The second piece of advice that sort of lives rent-free in my head is Julie's very distinct voice saying to me, "That's not story, that's fluff." It lives in my head when I'm cutting a scene, but all the time really, and haunts me. I carry these pieces of advice in my head because if there's anyone who knows a thing or two about story, who knows a thing or two about showing up for a film, it's Julie. Throughout their 20-year career, Julie has continuously shown up and given us stories that call us in and ground us in the possibilities of others. Whether it be some tenacious woman of color organizers, and she could be next, or a resilient Syrian family, dreams of Dada. Julie has this ability to show up and capture voices beyond ourselves. They sort of welcome us into these uncharted rooms, these less familiar places, daring us to just, imagine what the world might be like if we just stayed a while and listened. And now that I'm thinking about it, I've been invited into many of Julie's worlds, but none have been more impactful on my career than the world of their edit room. Granted, I'm not entirely sure how I got into their edit room. I'd like to think it's some sheer act of divine intervention. I say that because, and this was not too long ago, I was a very anxious post-production intern with very little experience. And I remember our first week when I had first met Julie, I had asked them what time code was. And instead of kicking me to the curb, as many would, they invited me into their edit room and they gave me a space to feel seen. And by that, I mean amid festival deadlines, such as Sundance, amid director comments, I'll leave those comments to your own imagination. Julie really carved out time and space for me to grow in this industry. Whether it be, breaking down 3-act structures in the morning, taking me to screenings and introducing me to their networks in the evening. They always sort of cultivated this space where they were not only showing up for the needs of the film, but also for the needs of an aspiring editor. And I don't have to tell you that in today's industry, in today's remote world, that is not a given. That is a rarity that Julie has somehow made commonplace on all the projects that they've worked on. I think now that I'm thinking about it, maybe this is because, much like their stories, Julie has grounded their edit room in the possibilities of others, and more specifically in the creative possibilities of assistants. And in this fundamental idea that assistants just might be more than their technological skill set, that they just might be tomorrow's editors. Whether it be inviting us to creative feedback sessions or giving us opportunities to cut, Julie has sort of created this space where assistant editors can see themselves in the very fabric of storytelling. And in today's industry, that means assistant editors can see a pathway towards editing. I say this because there was a time not too long ago where the technological mountain was in front of me, where I was a younger assistant who had a stronger sense of arc and structure and a sense of what it meant to make a proxy. And instead of questioning my place in the industry, Julie saw the potential for another craft and gave me room to develop my voice, a voice that I now carry with me on every project that I edit, not as tomorrow's editor, but as today's. I am an editor today because Julie invited me into uncharted territories, into these less familiar places, daring me to take a shot at finding the story and omitting the fluff. Even as I'm sitting here listening to my own remarks, I think maybe some of this isn't story, and especially when listening to Shannon and Terry, maybe most of this is just fluff. But I think the important thing is that Julie has always given me the opportunity to take a shot at it. They've always seen me and they've always shown up, and that's made all the difference. So with that all said, it's my great honor to introduce this year's recipient of the Nonfiction Sundance Adobe Mentorship Award, my mentor, my friend, my colleague, Julie Vitsa.
I said I was going to need a minute to cry. I might need two. Thank you. Thank you so much. I've been crying since Shannon, so I should be a little bit better by now, but thank God I wrote things down. So I'd like to thank Sundance and Adobe for this award and for recognizing the importance of mentorship. I'd also like to thank Ileana Garcia and Medaya Miliani for nominating me. I learned from you in so many ways you don't even know. When my dad came to the States from Italy, I don't think he ever imagined he would have a kid in the film business. He loves movies, and his very first job actually was working as a projectionist in a small town he grew up in southern Italy. They only got third run films rather. And so by 1960, the theater was playing War and Peace, which had come out 4 years earlier. And on his first day of work, the film broke. The audience was in an uproar, but he quickly sliced it back together and got it up running again, and everybody was back at it. I should actually read, hold on. Who knew that 10 years later, decades later, I would be doing the same thing? My mother loved theater and took me to every place she could get a ticket to. She dreamed big, and I wanted to dream with her. I would create little stories or reenact parts of books I read. My uncle and I would go out with this big bulky VHS, the kind of camera that then you had to also put the deck around, sling the deck around your shoulder and carry it along. We would do in-camera editing and sound design with live Foley. It was a way for me to communicate with the world, but I couldn't do it alone. I was always very shy and not quite sure how to ask for help. So many of my mentors probably didn't even know that they were mentoring me. Now with this award, many of them are about to find out actually for the first time. In college, I met a post-punk graduate student in the film department. She had taught art history in Paris and fell in love with a woman she worked with. She fell in love with a woman who had worked at the cafe she frequented. She followed her love to Philadelphia and started on her second master's degree. By the time I met Terry Cafaro, it seemed she had already lived 10 different lives and experienced a world much bigger than the one I could imagine. She was queer and out. She was clever and smart with a keen sense of humor. I was a young kid deep in the closet and eager to work in the film business. She was the first person I met who showed me it was possible to live out a dream. When another grad student was suddenly in need of an editor to finish her film, Terry recommended me, the only editing experience I had was practicing how to cut on action with leftover film strips of the TV show Gunsmoke. The director gave me 4 reels of film and a handful of notes. I would work from midnight until 6 a.m. every day, trying out ideas, rolling the film back and forth, experimenting with story to tell, picture to create a sense of intimacy. 2 weeks later, I showed my cut to the director. She loved it, and I had fallen in love with editing. After college, I dove deep into the imaginary world of fiction, making my way up from apprentice to editor. From the very beginning, I would get chances to sit with the editor, go over dailies, hear their conversations with directors. It was in those rooms that I first learned how to look at raw material, searching for subtle things like gestures that helped build character or the way someone said something to infer meaning. After almost a decade, I left fiction for docs. A friend asked if I could help out with a project. They were early in production, and so we had to figure out as we went. Trying to stay a step ahead of the story. With no script, it felt like we had more freedom to create. Then came Judgment Day. Kate Amend and Johanna Dimitrakis watched the first cut. It was 3 hours long. Kate turned around, looked at us and said, "Don't ever show me anything that long again." I was terrified I messed up the only opportunity I would have to get feedback from a legend in the field. Instead, Kate reminded me of something I learned early on, back in those fiction days, sitting down watching dailies. How do you make the main character funny, relatable, interesting? Look for the little things, get back to the basics. Kate has had endless patience, but Johanna has been relentless. She never censors herself, for better or worse, but because of that, she never lets me off easy either. I hear her in my head when I get stuck, and it helps me to keep trying. She has always believed in me and has seen what I couldn't see in myself. Her relentlessness is her love, and I'll take it. On my last project, And She Could Be Next, I got to collaborate with Grace Lee and Marjan Safinia. I really believed in what the women in the film were doing. It felt personal to me. This project was bigger than anything I had tackled, and I was supported by 2 badass women who modeled for me how to take up space and claim my seat at the table. Empowering my assistants was important to me. I made sure they were actively involved, sitting in the same room with me, part of creative conversations, not just the technical ones. I'd give them scenes to cut and we would work out ideas to share with the whole team. Like one of the women in our film, Maria Elena Durazo says, my job is to open the door and then hold it open. I want to hold open that door and I want to change what the room looks like on the other side. I'm only here today because of the people who didn't question who I was or why I was there. They saw I loved doing this work and they supported me at every turn. There are days I get totally lost and there's only so much the color-coded stickies can help. It's in conversations or crazy ideas I get to bounce off my assistants that can help me see something in a way I hadn't seen before. Or when they remind me of that funny moment from a clip that we watched 3 months ago that has a look from someone that can really nail the moment. Those little wins can feel big when it all starts to come together. That thrill of what you dreamed up finally making its way onto the screen. Who else would I want to celebrate that with than the people who helped me get there? I want to thank everyone at Sundance and Adobe for hosting this event and making it feel special. I know you told me not to do this, but special thanks to Kristen Feely for your unwavering support and kindness. I really appreciate it. To all of my assistants, directors, and collaborators who have made the work feel fun and adventurous, to my co-collaborators at the Alliance of Documentary, especially the Inclusion and Access Committee. I'd also like to thank my partner, Shalise Haas, who believes in me on my best days and my worst days. She inspires me and shows up for me so I can show up every day. Congratulations to Terry. I'm honored to be sharing this moment of recognition alongside of you. And wow, you're fucking badass and awesome. And I'm like learning from you even in this very moment. So thank you. And special thanks to Shannon Baker Davis, who has also been a co-conspirator.
Congratulations again to this year's Adobe Mentorship Awards, Julie and Terry. I wish we could all come off mute and give a big round of applause. That was so beautiful. My name is Carrie Lozano, and I'm the director of the documentary film program at Sundance. I'm delighted to join in this celebration and recognition of editors. Sundance has always championed the role of editors, but as the documentary landscape has rapidly shifted, hiring practices and editors' working environments, among other things, have not kept pace. As a result, in the last few years, editors have been organizing to create a more equitable and sustainable industry, as well as to create more opportunities for mentorship. And we want to recognize these invaluable efforts, particularly during the pandemic. Both organizations you're about to hear from have managed to do incredible all-volunteer work. What they have achieved without funding, through sheer tenacity and love of their community, is truly inspiring. You'll first hear from the Alliance of Documentary Editors, and then from our longtime partners from the Karen Schmier Film Editing Fellowship. Please welcome Veronica Pinkham from the Alliance of Documentary Editors.
Hello. Yes, you can see him from the Alliance of Documentary Editors. My name is Veronica Pinkham. I've had just enough time to dry all my tears. It's great to be here. And I want to tell you about ADE. We are a nonprofit committee-driven collective with over 750 documentary film and TV editors and assistant editors around the world. We campaign for best practices within the industry while improving our members' career sustainability. Especially in documentaries, which are often non-union projects, we've seen schedules shrink, budgets grow tighter, and assistant editors in particular are increasingly relegated to purely technical work and kept away from the edit bay, and thus are left out of the creative process. So as a result, we've been seeing a broken path forward for assistants and consequently a less diverse pool of editors. At ADE, mentorship is one of our core values. We believe that mentorship is like a circle. It's not just top down, and the greatest relationships are often the ones where eventually the mentee and mentor learn side by side and become peers. We believe that investing in mentorship strengthens the bonds of our whole documentary community. It welcomes new faces into our profession and makes space for true collaboration in the creative process. ADE works in several ways to make mentorship a consistent practice. For example, at each of our membership meetings, we take aside a portion of time for the community to answer questions about the craft of editing and how to navigate the industry. We also run a mentorship program called the ADE Shadow Day program, and we hope that Shadow Days will be a welcome and essential part of our documentary network that can further push us toward a more inclusive, equitable, and creative industry. So here to tell you more about that program is another ADE member, Natalie Ancona.
Hi, everyone. Big congrats to our mentorship winners. Those speeches were really beautiful. We are super excited and honored to be here today to talk about Shadow Days at the Art of Editing event. Thank you so much to Sundance for inviting us. And we especially want to thank Kristen Feely for being our mentor as we design this program. ADE's Shadow Day program is an all-volunteer, community-led initiative focused on connecting aspiring editors with experienced mentors of every level in documentary. We pair film students, post-PAs, assistant editors, and emerging editors with established mentors of their choosing for a one-time, one-on-one learning session. This program was developed over the last year by a brilliant group of assistant and emerging editors whose names you'll find somewhere in the chat. They're all invaluable community members and make us proud to say that our program is run by and for mentees. With a focus on finding pairs who have common interests and backgrounds, we function a little bit like a mentor matchmaking service. Our hope is that the time we put into pairing people leads them to long-term relationships that allow opportunities for mentees to learn, but also give mentors the chance to find strong collaborators to bring into the edit bay. Our mission is to remove the barrier to access by allowing anyone who signs up to receive a mentor. This program is not only here to help those in the field seeking guidance, but also for those trying to break into the industry. We're excited to be able to offer learning sessions within AID, but also to non-members. We'd like to thank all the wonderful mentors who've offered their time and passed down their knowledge, whether it be on a job or in a mentorship program like Shadow Days. If you're interested in ADE or Shadow Days, check out the chat where you'll find our website and our mentor intake form. There you can learn more about our mission, become a member, donate to ADE, and register as a Shadow Day mentor, which we highly encourage you to do. Thanks, everyone.
Hi, everyone. I'm Maya Muma. I'm an editor and president of the Karen Schmier Film Editing Fellowship. It's really great to be here at this new incarnation of the Sundance Film Festival and be able to see everyone joining in from so many places. It's really incredible. We are really grateful to collaborate with the Sundance Documentary Film Program and the amazing Kristen Feely. Thank you for all the work that you do in recognizing the work that editors do. This year, I'm following in Garrett Savage's footsteps, who led the fellowship for the past 10 years. And thank you, Garrett, for your immeasurable contributions. The Karen Schmier Film Editing Fellowship was created in 2010 in honor of an incredible editor, mentor, and person. Karen has been called one of the greatest editors of her generation. Her very first film was Errol Morris's Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control. She went on to cut 11 more films, including the Oscar-winning Fog of War and Sergio, which she won the Sundance Editing Award for in 2009. In fact, 8 of her films premiered at Sundance. Karen died tragically 11 years ago today at the age of 39. So it's especially meaningful to remember her in this forum. And here to tell you more about Karen is co-founder and vice president of the fellowship, Robin Hessman.
Thanks, Maya. It's a great honor to get to talk a little bit about Karen Schmier today. I once met a pair of young filmmakers at a festival, and when they heard I was friends with Karen, they gushed about how inspirational her work was. And then they asked if I would possibly give her a DVD of the over 3-hour rough cut of their film so she could watch it and give them feedback. I agreed to pass along the request, though it seemed to me a lot for them to ask of a total stranger. Not only did Karen watch their entire cut and take extensive notes, she also invited them to her apartment where they sat for hours discussing the work in progress over food. And that is who Karen was. Karen's assistant editor on Sergio, Chet Chabouk, was asked what she was like to work with, and he wrote the following. It was a lovely experience. She'd routinely ask me to pop into her room to look at cuts for feedback. She was open to ideas and suggestions and didn't hesitate to give credit where credit was due. She overtly valued and celebrated my contributions that would otherwise fly under the radar. Karen was one of those people who pulled other people up. So it feels really fitting to speak about Karen at an event like this that honors mentorship and the creation of opportunities for others, and in the company of these amazing people being recognized here today. They are inspiring us all to keep reminding those in charge that it benefits everyone when AEs and young editors are pulled into the artistic conversations and seen. Errol Morris said that Karen saved Fast, Cheap, and Out of Control. What many people don't know is that Karen was originally an assistant editor on Fast, Cheap. The film had been struggling in post for years. At some point after the first editor had left, Errol gave her a chance, see what you can do with all of this. And if you've seen the film, you know that it turned out pretty well. It is hard to believe that it was 11 years ago today that she was killed. She was crossing the street on the Upper West Side when she was struck by a car being chased by the police after a drugstore robbery. We lost a beloved friend, and the world lost all the films that she would never get to cut. But 3 weeks later, on what would have been her 40th birthday in the cinema in Boston, where she once worked selling popcorn, we announced the creation of the Karen Schmier Film Editing Fellowship to honor her memory and her extreme generosity. And so now I will pass it along to Maya, who will tell you more about our programs.
Thank you, Robin. The fellowship was initially founded as a year-long program for an emerging documentary editor to explore their craft and grow their professional and creative community. And this year, we were extremely pleased to award our 10th Emerging Editor Fellowship this past fall to Christina Sun Kim. Christina is currently working on So Yun-eum's feature documentary Liquor Store Dreams, which is a personal film about racial reconciliation and a generation of Korean-owned liquor stores in Los Angeles. During her fellowship year, Christina is being mentored by Kimberly Hassett, Karen Sim, and Miranda Youssef. And now we'd love to introduce Christina to you all.
Hi, my name is Christina Sun Kim. I grew up in Minnesota in South Korea, but now I call Los Angeles my home. What I love about editing is the process of refining a story. When you take a big and rough idea and then sculpting that into tangible bits that serve the story. In 2021, most importantly, I want to finish my current films strongly. But after that, I would love a new opportunity to work as part of a large editorial team. What currently keeps me going as an editor is telling stories that keep us connected. As much as we all suffered from losses and social isolation last year, I love that what we do fosters a sense of community.
Thank you, Christina. Through our programs, we also champion editors through our Diversity in the Edit Room program, and we'd love to introduce you to this year's 20 mentees. And I'll tell you a little bit more about the program. So several years ago, we started looking at how we could expand what we were doing with the fellowship to support more editors. We also felt an urgency to address the lack of diversity inclusion at all career levels in the editing world. Our mentees come from a variety of underrepresented backgrounds and experiences, and what we do is we create small pods that meet monthly with dedicated editing mentors, and at the same time they benefit from having a great new cohort of peers. As of this year, we've had 72 mentees in our program. Community building within the documentary film industry is vital to our mission as well. And what we do is we collaborate with partners on workshops and panels. We host gatherings at film festivals and bring producers and editors together. Over the years, our fellows and mentees have worked on films that have premiered at Sundance and other incredible festivals. They have garnered incredible accolades, including Emmys and Oscars, and their films have been seen by audiences around the world. It's been incredibly, incredibly gratifying to see them thrive over the years. And what you all can do is sign up on our mailing list and learn more about our fellows and mentees, about news and events, karenschmier.com. And most importantly, if any of you are looking for an editor, please visit our website to find out more about our mentees and fellows. We have a database there, and you all should be hiring these incredible, incredible people. Their voices, their perspectives, and their talents are so crucial to our craft and to our industry. And now I'd like to pass it over to Kristen Feely for closing remarks and a special announcement.
Thank you, Robin and Maya, and thanks to the whole team behind the Karen Schmier Film Editing Fellowship. Over the last hour, we've glimpsed the possibilities of how doing your work with intention, sharing your knowledge, and lifting others up can transform lives. Zoom is not perfect, but it allows you to stay connected. We're going to pause soon and go into breakout rooms so you can meet one another. Before we do, we wanted to take a moment to acknowledge a loss in our community with the passing of Jonathan Oppenheim in July 2020. It's impossible to quantify Jonathan's influence on contemporary nonfiction. First, through his work. Some of his 24 credits, including the Oscar-nominated films Streetwise and Children Underground, as well as Arguing the World, The Oath, William and the Windmill, Andre Gregory Before and After Dinner, and most recently, Blowin' Up. In addition, he consulted on numerous award-winning documentaries. Jonathan's influence on his fellow filmmakers was deeply felt. He participated for many years, both as a fellow and an advisor at the Sundance Edit and Story Lab, and as a mentor at the IFP Documentary Labs. His wife, Josie, beautifully captured Jonathan and his connection to the editing community in the notice of his passing, when she said, Jonathan began his life in the arts as a painter, which informed his sensibilities in film. He was a talented and highly original painter, but documentary film was his chosen medium. The collaborative dynamic, while not always peaceful, was one aspect of the work that Jonathan loved. But he found an outlet for his intellectual and artistic talents in all aspects of documentary film. I can say as well that the film community was profoundly important to him and served as a nurturing soil, allowing his very great talents to come into flower. But the community was important to us both, really. Friendships he forged became our friendships, and our daughter's family became our community as we moved through our lives together. In the wake of Jonathan's death, Josie, along with some of her chosen family and editors Erin Casper, Penny Falk, and Robin Hessman, came together to honor Jonathan's legacy. We are thrilled to announce that the festival has created the Jonathan Oppenheim Editing Award. This new annual editing award will be selected from the US documentary competition, mirroring the Waldo Salt Screenwriting Award. This correlation also honors Jonathan's steadfast belief that editors are the writers of nonfiction films. We hope you'll tune into the award ceremony on Tuesday evening and join us in celebrating Jonathan. Finally, I want to thank our partners at Adobe for their support. Thank you to the 2021 Mentorship Award winners and their presenters. You're a bunch of badass people. Our partners at the Alliance of Documentary Editors and the Karen Shear Film Editing Fellowship, and my Sundance colleagues, Elise McKimmey, Andrea Alarcon, Julia Gunnison, Daniel Latios, Kate Childers, Margaret Badikian, and the master of all things tech, Jessica Hobbs. Congratulations again to the editors with films in the festival, wishing you an enjoyable and inspiring festival and hope for a brighter year ahead. Thank you all for joining us.